my little tricks of seeing what kind of needs they're to make their, understanding got into because I think I'm gonna full stop that. So
Only let one person put it on.
Nice. All right. Thank y'all for your patience. Let's see.
How many people we got online?
We got roughly 17.
17.
Yep.
Nice.
Good?
It's a lot of people. Did you?
We do. We try. All right. Yeah. Okay.
US COVID too. Okay. Let's go.
Great. That's
Contrary, like they're like so close.
tell them to.
It's like a wake up.
Everybody.
Damn, not bad, bro. All right. So once again, welcome to our general meeting, second one of the year. So thanks for showing out. We're going to go ahead and move the couple of the tables so we can let our sponsors speak. They've thanks y'all for graciously coming out. So it's Burns and McDonnell. We'll go ahead and put their slides up and let them go.
Or just clip it on. I'll check my clip. That's too close.
Yeah, that's good.
Uh-oh.
So it's like facing, just facing down.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Awesome. Let me just make sure we got full access to controls. There we go. All right, everyone. So good evening. Hope everyone had a good day today. Hope everyone's week is starting off to a hot start. We're with Burns McDonnell. We're here to talk to you a little bit about our company. First off, I want to say thank you to Sam for getting us in here, for coordinating that. And I also want to thank all of y'all for taking the time to come, obviously eat some free Whataburger or eat some Whataburger, but come listen to us and hear about learn about our company. I know that y'all are definitely busy. Y'all are definitely slammed. There's so many assignments you're probably late on right now that you should be doing. So I really appreciate y'all coming out. We'll start with a couple introductions. My name's Jim Cardinal. I went to LSU. I did bring some UH alums with me though to come talk to y'all today. I'm married. I got two hilarious dogs. You can see one of them there, and I'm a proud Air Force vet. I work with Burns McDonnell's in their transmission and distribution department. And what brought me to Burns McDonnell is their various industries that they're in and all the opportunities that provides working with different industries.
Guess I'm gonna hold it like this. All right, good evening, everyone. So my name is Rafael Zamora. I did go to University of Houston, graduated with electrical engineer. I'm also in the transmission distribution team, specifically in substations. So that's what I'm doing right now. And what is great about Burns and McDonnell? So this is one question that at the beginning I was gonna put why I went to Burns and McDonnell, but like most of us, we were just looking for a job. I had some idea what Burns and McDonnell was. I heard really great things, but I think it's more important to like know why I stayed at Burns and McDonnell. I've been there for 2 years plus, and why I enjoy it is because of the company culture. We do meaningful work and the career progression. There's a lot of positives when you work for Burns and McDonnell, and like I mean, you'll meet some of the employees and my coworkers and stuff like that. The company culture is great. Plus the other things that I mentioned. And you'll see throughout the slides, we're gonna keep talking about all those points.
Hello, everybody. My name is Reem. I was with Burns and McDonnell since February 2021. I graduated from University of Houston. I did my bachelor's and my master's here. I was the IEEE president here for 2019, 2020, and it was the last chili cook-off before COVID, if y'all made it there. And I was SAC director as well. So if you have any questions about those roles or how I got into Burns and McDonnell, feel free to join me after and we can talk. This safety moment. So number one thing about Burns and McDonnell is safety. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So number one about Burns and McDonnell is safety. That's our first principle. And today we chose the topic of, drum roll, distracted driving. So there are 3 ways you can be distracted while driving. You can have your eyes off the road because you're texting, don't do that. Or because your hands are off the road because you're munching, probably Whataburger, don't do that. And also because you had a very rough day and your mind is off the road. So it's very important to have all 3 of these components, full focus when you're driving. So great tips would be putting your phone on silent or putting it in the back seat so you don't touch it. Have your playlist going so you got good music going, and plan your route ahead of time so that you are ready to go. And that's about it for me. Thank you.
And now we also have a for all moment. So I guess before we get to that, we'll talk a little bit about ERGs. These are engineering resource groups that we have at Burns McDonnell. So we kind of show how Burns McDonnell is devoted to inclusion, equity, and diversity. Just like UH, when you go to Burns McDonnell, like a lot of your coworkers are, I mean, in my team, I have coworkers from every different culture, different countries. I've heard, I don't know, I walk down the hallways and I hear like 2, 3, 4 different languages being spoken. So it's a very diverse company. And we have a set of ERGs, engineering resource group, that we provide for people to join and get to meet other coworkers and just feel more included and meet friends and get help if they need and so on. So I'm proud, since our LGBTQ plus ERG, Asian Pacific Islanders ERG, Black Professional Network, Latinx is cut off, New Blue, that's for like new professionals in general, everyone that's starting. Like if you guys were to go into Burns Mac right now, you'll be part of New Blue, and we do like happy hours, we do like some lunch and learns and so on. So you get to know other coworkers and other people in outside of your team. We got NOW, which is Network of Women, and BETS. So these are the groups that we have at Burns McDonnell. And for all moment, just like the safety moment, we have a for all moment where, for example, here, send an agenda before the meeting so everyone has equal opportunity to prepare for topics to discuss. And this is kind of a little bit of common sense, maybe not if you haven't been working for too long, but you want everyone to be included. You don't want to feel like you're above someone and don't want to send information. In Mercer Mike and everywhere, you should be including everyone's at the same level as you. So on, practice respectful communication and ask each person for their thoughts. Again, everyone matters, every opinion matters. And specifically in Burns McDonnell, we want everyone to be successful. So we're always helping each other. I'm always asking questions, I always get answers. People are always willing to spend the time to help. Again, no one's above everyone else. Everyone should be helping each other. And some other ones, like use pronouns proactively as how people want to be referred as. And if you have any concerns, talk to the organizers. Like just make sure that everyone feels included. That's very important. That's how you have success in your team, in school, in any other groups that you're part of, and so on. And your turn.
All right, so we'll get into a little bit about Burns and McDonnell. I think we got a quick video here if it'll play. And it will not play. We'll send it out later.
Yeah, we didn't test it out.
So the headline here is making our clients successful. Real brief about Burns McDonnell. We are an engineering consulting company. So what does that mean? It means we are a company that is driven by our clients' needs. We're driven by our clients' needs. The only way that we're successful is if our clients are successful. We've got about 10,000 employees worldwide. We are a debt-free company. We're 100% employee-owned. We were founded in 1898, so we've been in business for over 100 years, and we're in over 60 offices, and that's not just in the US, that's worldwide. If y'all have any questions as I'm going through these slides, feel free to raise your hand and we'll start going through them. Just so we'll cover a lot of information. Just want to make sure we get your questions knocked out as early as possible. So I mentioned the offices worldwide. We see a map of our offices around the US. As we mentioned, our business is driven by our clients' needs. Our offices are spread out based on what work is being done where. So here in Houston, we work out of our Houston office. We're in the energy capital of the world. That's what Houston's known for. So a lot of our work ends up being in power, oil and gas, and energy. So if you go to any of these other offices, a lot of that work might, depend on what is local to that office. So what's nice about having offices everywhere is that, if you're from Houston, you want to get out, we have opportunities for you there. There's a lot of work at all these different offices. I mean, even if you want to go worldwide, if you look at the bottom right corner, we don't have so many offices outside the US, but we're constantly growing. So services that we provide, so our clients' needs vary. So the service we provide them will depend on that. So we do architecture, we do engineering design. What's nice about Burns McDonnell is that we have our own construction. So we're not just doing our own design, we're actually able to build what we design. I think that separates us from a lot of competition. Whenever you're looking at engineering consulting companies, that's one thing that you want to consider. Do you do your own construction? What's valuable about that is you can point to something that's built and say, hey, go ahead. Go ahead.
So to answer that, I mean, they'll find you work. Like I say, if you're low on work, they'll reach out to other offices, and sometimes they give you work. Like we have work that I know that Dallas office does. So if we have too many projects going our way, we're overloaded. We need to give it somewhere else. We look at the offices, which offices are low on work or so on. They can help us with that. So I haven't heard where you're just relocated or terminated just because we don't have enough work. We'll find you work. And then I think, like he said, on having all these different cities and different offices, I've heard people even from my team were like, hey, I want to be closer to my family in Orlando. And we'll allow you to move to, like, we'll move you to Orlando because you're still going to be helping Burns & Mac. Like I said, we're employee owned. So we want Burns & Mac to do well. So instead of hiring someone else, whatever it is, we'll move you over there, and then we'll find someone else from another office, or we'll hire someone else on to like fill that position. But I would say, yeah, we don't if you're low on work, we'll find ways of giving you work. You're not gonna be just like terminated because we don't have any work. We will find something for sure.
Yeah, and as he just pointed, so for example, I have projects right now that we're not able to complete, and we have people that are needing some work in Dallas, so we'll shift some of that work over to them. So we do that actively every day. So we're not just gonna hire you, get rid of you. We'll find work for you. We'll shift the work to make sure that you get some of that. One thing that he did point out, though, we'll go back to 100% employee owned. So what that means is when you come and work with us, you're an employee owner. And so what that means is every year we'll issue you stock. What that means is you have a sense of ownership in the work that you're doing, because the quality of work that you do for us is directly reflected in you're building your own value. So every year we'll issue stock, you'll get paid dividends on that, and we keep issuing it. So you're building with the company. So you're not just doing work for us and the company's taking advantage of that. You're building, the more you help build up the company, you're also building up yourself.
Yeah, so you'll have let's say a 401k, and then you have our ESOP, which is a stock option. So you have two savings going up at the same time. And usually, this ESOP one will be higher than your 401k. It'll just keep growing and growing and growing.
The difference between your 401k and your ESOP, 401ks are something that you contribute to with employee matches. ESOP is 100% Burns contributing to that. You don't have to put anything into it. We're putting money, we're filling that account. So I think that's another thing that kind of separates us. Whenever you're looking at companies, whether it's for internships or whenever you're getting ready to graduate, look at these benefits. Are you getting a piece of that pie? Are you being an employee owner working with these companies? So A, do they do their own construction? B, am I getting stock in this? So back to this. So architecture, engineering, construction. We also do commissioning, operation, maintenance, even program management. So really anything that a client needs to get their goals accomplished, we find a way to help them do that. So even if we don't do it, we still find a way to do it. And what that does is help us get into new markets. So pretty exciting. So talking about the markets that we're in, if you take a look up here, we're in a ton of different ones. I mean, we're in aviation, federal, transportation, water, you name a market, chances are that we're in it. What's nice about being in so many different markets is, say you're looking at a company and you see that they're focused on one market. If that market tanks, they're out of work. For us, as we mentioned earlier, we just shift the focus so we stay busy, we keep working. Another thing that's valuable about being in so many different markets, that we have so many different minds, so many different insights to pull from. So there's so many different ways of thinking to accomplish these goals. So the way I like to think about Burns is that if you were to give us a bare island, we would be able to build everything on that island to make it a fully functioning city. I mean, we do transportation, we do aviation, power, oil, gas, all of that. And so I think that's kind of a cool way to look at things, and especially where the construction aspect comes in, because we're able to not just design it, but we are able to build it all the way through. So as aspiring electrical engineers, you're probably thinking, what am I going to do after college? What do I actually do with an electrical engineering degree? And it's a very good question. I mean, I'm sure you probably thought, oh, well, I'll just go be an engineer. What does that actually mean? So one of the opportunities that I think is pretty cool, and that I don't think was talked about very much in college, or at least for me, it wasn't, is transmission and distribution. So that's where I work. That's where Rafa works. And so what we deal with, if you ever look out and you see them everywhere, you see the power lines going all across the world. You follow that and you'll follow those and you'll end up seeing substations, transmission poles, all kinds of stuff. So what transmission distribution focuses on is the design and implementation of power delivery systems. That's overhead, underground transmission and distribution. Where me and Rafa work is substation design. And I think that's the hidden gem of transmission distribution. Substation design is awesome, and let me tell you why. We deal with physical design, which means we get to actually deal with the layout of equipment. So we're actually putting stuff out. You see it, we build it. We deal with protection and control. So when you're thinking, oh, wow, I was doing all this engineering thing, I deal with schematics. There it is. We have schematics. You'll see your logic diagrams in there. Network and automation. What am I taking these comm classes for? Boom, network automation. So being in substation is kind of the jack of all trades of electrical engineering. You get to deal with physical equipment, you get to deal with schematics, and you get to deal with communications, which I think is pretty valuable and helps you to be a well-rounded engineer. Go ahead. And so what's awesome about substations is anywhere you're building a new facility, you're going to need a substation at some point outside of that. So yes, we do get a lot of government work, but we get government work from all kinds of industries. So if we go back to pretty much any of these markets, aviation, federal, you're building a hangar, you're building a military base, guess what? You got a substation somewhere in there. Energy, you're building a plant, oil and gas plant, guess what? There's a substation, actually multiple substations in there. So substations play all over the place, which is another reason why this is such a great market. And I wanted to kind of share that with you because I feel like not a whole lot of people tell you about that and tell you how awesome it is. You're probably thinking when you're in Houston in school, oh, I'll go work in oil and gas, I'll work in energy. That's a great option. This is Houston, but let's get into power, transmission, distribution, substation. I highly suggest y'all looking into it.
To answer the question real quick as well, we're not only not government contracts, but utilities. Mostly a lot of utilities are the ones like, my client is all the way in Arizona. So I have a team that works, the client's called APS, Arizona Public Service. So all my projects are in Arizona based. So I'll work with substations in Arizona with that client. And after I build a substation, after I design it, they construct it, I've gone over there and see it in person, take pictures, make sure everything that I design is still there and everything, it's the way they're supposed to be. We have like center point, so utilities give us a lot of our work. And there's different ways that they give us the work, and that's a little bit more complicated, but those are our clients, as well as, like government and so on.
So one of the clients I work with is utility, but it's a government utility. And so we'll get a lot of contracts from there. But yeah, so utilities will give us work. Oil and gas companies, when they're building new facilities, will give us work and contracts. I mean, even Amazon, Tesla, you name it, anywhere that builds a facility, that client will give us work. So what is a substation? This is IEEE's definition of it, but the way I like to think about it is substations are interconnection points. They're interconnection points for, say you have power generation somewhere. That power is getting generated and it needs to get onto our grid. You need to have a substation right outside that generation to get it to the grid. Whenever you have a new facility being built, you need the substation to connect to the transmission lines to get access to that power. We'll see an example of that on this next slide. So if you look here, we got a generating plant. This is a great picture, by the way. Outside the generating plant, we have a high voltage substation. That substation will be used to either step up or step down the voltage from that generating plant to get it to levels that can be transmitted over the transmission lines. And then depending on what your application is, to say you have a new manufacturing facility, you'll have a specific substation outside of that to bring it down to the voltage needed to run your building, or for example, to power homes. So substations are everywhere. Once you see one, you'll start to see them all. It's awesome.
And let me
Go ahead.
add to that. So you see, for example, we work in the substation team, right? So we'll have to communicate with the transmission team. So that's another team or literally another floor in our building that does all the transmission work. If we go from the substation to your farm, to your homes, that's the distribution team. So now you gotta talk to them and they'll take over if it's a project that it's gonna involve all of Burns and Mac. So you'll be able to work with different teams. You also have civil on top of this, all that stuff. You have environmental on top of this. So you'll be working with different teams. And I mean, there's times where you work, there's electricals fit everywhere in the company pretty much, right? And a lot of the stuff that we do here, we learn in the company. So after you're an engineer, you apply what you've learned in school, you're gonna learn a bunch, if not like, I would say like 80% of what you're gonna be applying at work. So there's times where you work with another team and you're like, I really like what they're doing. I feel like that might be more enjoyable for me. So then you can literally say, hey, like, I feel like I want to try this team now. Like, I want to do this. And they'll try their best to move you to that team, because if you want to be happy over there, you're still being happy at Burns and Mac. That's what matters. So there's that opportunity where you communicate with different teams and you might like it somewhere else in that team, and then you're able to go there. And that's the one really nice thing about Burns and Mac is you get to meet, you know, you're not just stuck to your group. You're not seeing the same people all the time, you know, 24/7 or whatever, or your 8 hours. You get to meet a lot of people throughout the whole building. So it's pretty nice.
And what's also nice about that is, so he's mentioning a lot of flexibility within the company. So you can hop between, say you're interested in, say we're talking about transmission distribution, you're interested in transmission or distribution or substations, you can go to one of those teams. But when you're on that team, maybe you're not someone that likes to work with a ton of people and you want to be a technical expert. We have a path to route you through that. Maybe you are someone that likes to coordinate these projects. We have a path to take you on the project management route. Or maybe you like to manage people. We have routes for that. So we can get you where you fit best market-wise, and then also where you fit best working-wise. Yeah. So a day in the life for substations. So as Rafa mentioned, there's a lot of coordination with a lot of different people. What's nice about that is I feel like you get real well-rounded in communicating with people from all types of different disciplines. So like if we look at this first picture, we can build a substation from the ground up, from a bare ground. What we'll do there is we'll deal with foundations, we'll deal with the civil team. So we're communicating with the civil team on getting the foundations ready for us to install our equipment on. Going to the picture in the middle, we'll start setting steel. Again, still working with the civil disciplines, but now we're getting more focused on getting the substation put together. We have some pretty significant equipment out there. If you look at the picture all the way to the top right, you might see a person standing next to that circuit breaker to give you an idea of how big that equipment is. And then we look down at this bottom left screen and we have our relays and everything that control the substation. And so as I mentioned earlier, we get to deal with the construction, we get to deal with the physical layout of things, and then we also get to deal with the relaying, the schematics, how everything actually works. And then we get to the final product of the fully built substation connecting to the transmission lines. So I think that's probably one of the cooler things about being in substation is getting to actually exercise all the things that you're learning, physical layouts, schematics, communication. You're getting to work with a whole lot of disciplines. What's good about this is being comfortable working with all these different disciplines really allows you flexibility into different places in the market, and makes you pretty desirable. Working with Burns as a consulting engineer, what's nice about that is you're in engineering, but you're also on the business side. You're also working with clients. You're coming up with proposals. You're getting to see the numbers of things as well. So in substation, you get to exercise all your engineering traits. Working in consulting, you get to be in engineering and in business. And then working for Burns, we give you the flexibility to move throughout the company wherever your strengths are, because we don't want to hold you back. You're an employee. With us, you'd be an employee owner. So as you get better, the company gets better. We want to play to your strengths. We don't want to hold you back. What's also cool about Burns is we mentioned the various markets that we're in. We didn't get into those by accident. We evolve with trends. We evolve with technology. So for example, you probably heard a lot about electric vehicles coming up and how we're going to charge those. So within our substation group, we actually had a group of people say, hey, we think these charging stations are going to be a big market for us. Let's pursue this. So that wasn't something that just came from the big dogs at Burns and Mac. That was something within our group. So if you have a path and and you have an idea how to pursue it, we'll let you run with it. And so I think that's something that's pretty valuable, something that you probably don't see with a lot of other companies. So we'll play to your strengths, and if you have an idea, we'll let you pursue it. We actually have Ignite. So we have this thing called Ignite. Anyone seen Shark Tank? So it's pretty much just like Shark Tank, except the sharks are people within our company. And so people will put these plans together of different markets they think that they can pursue, and they'll present it to the tank, and we'll actually broadcast it throughout the company. It's kind of cool to watch, especially like if a group's coming from your office. So like recently we had 3 groups come from our office and present, and they all got funded. And it's cool, they're getting funded with real dollars. So for example, the electric charging station was a product of that Ignite, that Shark Tank. So they went up, they pitched an idea, the idea seemed solid, they got funding for it, and now that's a market that they're pursuing. And so it's also cool because now if you came up with that, you get to lead that. So you just invented a department that you're now leading. So there's a lot of opportunity to move up with Burns, which I think is pretty cool.
You move from your team, well, you think your team, now you're going to be doing this project that you brought up through Ignite. So that's your own team. And you're leading the whole thing.
So if you got an idea, we'll let you run with it. And I think, I don't know that you're seeing that with a whole lot of companies. So that's my spiel on a substation. I highly suggest everyone go and give that a Google after this.
Wow, fancy transition. All righty. So I am not part of substation, thank God. But I am part of the
She
network.
wishes.
Mhm. They're on the 11th floor, we're on the 12th, we're above them, but we are
Physically.
network integration automation. So there are multiple teams within our department, but the team that I'm part of is telecommunications. So what we do is we work at substations, but what we do is we work for the networking devices of substations. So what we're interested in is how do substations communicate with each other? Not power stuff, but network stuff. So we're dealing with microwave towers because sometimes microwave is a better solution, but it depends on the infrastructure. So maybe fiber is a better solution or cellular towers, but that's private. But we want the clients to own their network, to own their the whole network. So that's the goal of my team is we're working for this utility company called First Energy, which was originally 10 different utility companies that merge into one. And they own over 6,000 substations. And within these substations, imagine like all of the little dots that we have to connect with each other. And that's where Burns and McDonnell comes in, and they build all of that infrastructure for them. So what a day in NIA is a lot of coordination, because you're gonna have to design, you're gonna have to develop that design package. You're gonna have to deal with drawings, understanding what is the best network transport that you're gonna choose. Is it microwave? If it's microwave, you're gonna have to understand like where the waveguide is gonna go, if you have the right bending ratio for your waveguide. And it's a lot of like those little details that you learn in your job. And I personally I took like one EM class, but I learned everything at work. So it's not anything to be intimidated by. But here I have a couple of pictures for you. So this is a cellular board that we've designed for. So this is like one of the solutions that we offer for our first energy client, which is this board connects to this antenna, which is a omni antenna. So it connects all direction and try to catch the data from cellular towers that are usually owned by AT&T or Verizon. So that's not preferred, right? Because they want to own their data. They don't want to go through carriers. But this other solution here is a MPLS router. Let me spot it. It's somewhere up there. I'm too short, but it's a router. And the reason why it's called MPLS router is because it accepts multiple protocols. So like Ethernet, serial, and it spits out fiber. So that's like really cool, because a lot of devices like power line monitor carriers, or whatever, PCMs, acronyms, they're basically monitoring like the power line. If something goes up, we receive that data, and those use Ethernet versus other devices, your serial like RTUs. Yes, sir. No, not in the utility space, but however, if you go to other spaces like the food and beverage department, they do use PLCs. Yeah, we use RTUs, remote terminal units, and that's like basically kind of like that's our data concentrator. That's what gets all of the data, and then the data that's wherever it spits out that's what we're interested in our group, is how do we transmit that data collected by the RTU. And yeah, that's about it for NIA, but it's a lot of cool things that I haven't learned at school that I learned within my job. And it was very cool learning about, you have to coordinate the materials, when are you going to build all of these equipment, building that antenna. Sometimes you need some licensing, some permitting. So you have to be able to coordinate all of that. So you build a lot of interpersonal skills within your job, and you are surrounded by great and talented people here at Burns and McDonnell. So it's makes your job easier and your growth easier within the company. So I highly recommend NIA, not Substation.
So going back to Substation before we get to the next slide. As she mentioned, we will train you on what you need to know. There's no one in here, unless U of H came up with a really cool class about substations, that knows anything about substations or NIA. What will happen is you'll come in with us as maybe an assistant electrical engineer, and you'll work with a team. That team will have someone maybe above you or not above you, just working with you to kind of help you achieve the project goals. So you're never really alone. What's also nice about Burns is it's real easy to talk to anyone. And so you start to learn who knows what, who's good at what, who's had experience in the type of areas that your project is in. And you can go up to them pretty much anytime. Unless they're in a call or a meeting, they're going to take that time to sit there and answer your question every time, because they were in that same scenario. So we'll teach you what you need to know. There's a whole lot of people there ready to support you. As Rafa mentioned earlier, we have a new blue group, so that once you come in, you're immediately getting introduced to people, so that you can feel comfortable going up to these different groups.
So to add to that, like to give you like a real life example, I was concentrating in electronics, and that's why I graduated electronics. And I think pretty much by the time I graduated from electronics, I realized I didn't want to do electronics. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. So I started applying to different companies. Ended up being in Burns, and I know they did power, and I didn't have an experience in power. I had an internship doing some other stuff. So I learned everything at Burns and McDonnell, and they don't give you, like, as soon as I started as assistant electrical engineer, this was in August of 2020. I was put in a team and they didn't give me like busy work. Okay, here's this or that. Help us with the stuff that we don't want to do. I literally came in and I was working with one of the senior engineers. And he said, okay, here's your project, right? This is the same project that another assistant that right now I will do, as in 2 years in. They gave it to me and they were like, okay, try to figure it out. Ask me as many questions as you want. First, go through pretty much tell me everything you don't understand, right? So let's go through it. We'll give you other similar projects and you can compare and see if some stuff makes sense, so on. And then throughout the whole week, it was just me asking questions, him answering, answering. And we finished that project. I mean, it was rough, but I finished that project and so on. Then you have the next project. You always have the next project. You're never like, oh, I don't have anything to do right now. Like if you have a good project manager, he'll set you up with many projects in advance. So you always have something to do. And it becomes easier because you're like, okay, now I understand. Of course, they get more complicated and then you have the new challenges and so on. But you always have that one. For me, I have that senior engineer. I have my coworkers that I still ask questions to. Even my project manager, which I work really close to, he's the manager of the whole team. And I just knock on his door and say, hey, I have a question. He's like, yeah, sure, sit down. And we'll just talk about it. So everyone's super helpful. I talk to people from, when I got into the company, I had friends in the company I didn't know that worked there. And I'll say, oh, I had no idea you worked here. And then he'll help me with answers and stuff like that. Even though he was in a different team, still substation, we're still helping each other. It's different standards, but we're still in the same realm of, but everything that I know right now, everything I've learned at Burns and Mac. They've sent me to conferences too, because I do protection and control. So they send me to conferences to learn about relaying. Right now, they pay for a full program for us where they're going to teach us all about from bare bones to complicated information about protection and controls. And that was a whole year where we're going to do this training once a week or whatever it is. And it costs a lot of money. And they're like, we want you to grow. We want you to be better. And they put us in teams because they want to work with each other. So they invest in you because they want you to get better. Because at some point, you have to talk to the client and you need to know your stuff. So they want to get you to that point, right? So they're not going to leave you just to be, you're never going to be like, I don't have anything to do. I'm wasting my time here. You're learning a lot and fast. Like whatever I know now, I had no idea what, like 2 years ago, like I know way, like I was like, it's crazy how much I've learned. So you have to put the time and they help you a lot. So that's the really good thing about Burns McDonnell. Yeah.
Another thing is not only you take ownership of your work, but you also take ownership of your workload. So if you feel like you can take on more work, you can always say, I would like more work. And if you feel like it's too much work, you can also speak up. So you are the only one that is able to manage your own workload. Like, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes you're gonna be overworked, and that's because it's on you. It's because you didn't speak up and say, hey, I actually need help with this, and your team is always there for you to help out. So I'm not saying that you're gonna be working overtime every week. That's not true. But I'm not saying you're not going to be busy all the time, and that's not true. Like, work comes in waves, so you're just going to have to, you're your own project manager, your own, you take ownership of everything that you do, and that's what's awesome about Burns.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
hello,
so
yes.
going back to that, so like I have work forecasted for like the next year, which is pretty cool to think about. So I know some people in other industries where they're like, hey, well, I just finished this, and now what's next? I have no idea. I have work that's forecasted into the next year. As they said, it's always up to you to say, hey, this is too much, or hey, I'm happy to take on this challenge. Because what's good about getting all that work is now you're getting to learn, you're getting to grow, you're getting better with each project. It's not the same thing anytime. You're always doing something a little bit different. You're getting a little bit better. And that helps you overall to be a consultant, because now you're learning to be the expert. So they're providing us with trainings, not cheap trainings, but additional trainings from outside. Anywhere that provides value to help build us up, they're willing to look into it to help build us up so that we're the best consultants possible. So they're helping build us up. They have work for us. If we think it's too much work, we're always free to say, hey, I need to offload some of this. But again, it's up to you. And what's kind of nice is you kind of learn how to manage that, how to manage your own workload, and how to communicate that. So our department managers are very receptive to that. They're not going to say, oh, well, that sucks. You took on too much work. They'll work with you. You just have to say it. So it's definitely not the easiest thing to learn. I've definitely taken on a little too much sometimes. Who hasn't? But I think that's another thing that's pretty interesting.
So you must be actually, quick hands up. Who is here a chemical engineer? Civil?
Is this all electrical
No, I know we have some computers.
or computer?
Yeah.
Hey.
Computer people, sorry, they're really, sorry, computers people, nice. So this chart, you can share it with your friends that are different majors.
Take a picture of it if
Take
you
a
want.
picture of it, yes. We'll probably share the slides, you got them. But this slide shows you where you fit within Burns and McDonnell with your degree. So as you can tell, as an electrical engineer, you basically cover most, like 70–80% of the chart. So you have great opportunities, different variety of markets that you can be involved with. And for computer engineers, what you could do is we also have projects that involve computer engineering. So it's not, there's always a space for you and you can always learn different skills there. Another thing that I wanted to add that not many people tell you at school or even company reps don't tell you, you should learn other skills like automating your work at work, like automating using Excel, using Microsoft Power Automate, or all of these little skills are very helpful and they will make your life so much easier. So for you, know how to use Excel because that will save your life and you can automate so many things with that. And I mean, I really recommend it. But anywho, you have a place in Burns and McDonnell, and that's the main idea to take away. And if you're bored with what you're doing, there are other places for you to be at. So there's always opportunity to grow and, you know, to discover new things.
Substation deals with all of those, by the way. As you can see, so electrical, that fits anywhere.
Pretty much. And just know that, I mean, we're talking about energy, so the energy is not gonna go anywhere, right? So you're not gonna be afraid of what's gonna happen to Burns and Mac, or am I gonna have a job in 2, 3 years, 5 years? We're only gonna get busier. There's only gonna be an increasing load, and it's just gonna be it's gonna be great. So like, you're never gonna be afraid of what's gonna happen to the market. So it's only gonna get busier. That's the answer, I guess.
I mean, we just went through a pandemic and it was probably our busiest time.
Yeah.
So
More people at home. You're stuck at home now. You need more electricity going to the distribution sites, so on. So
yeah, so with all this renewable work coming up, all these
Renewable.
batteries, wind storage, that's all got to tie into a substation. As everything does, everything goes back to subs.
Yep.
So there's a lot of work in that industry. I really suggest looking into it. Gets you into power and it gets you exposure to all these. If you want an example of how substations tie into any of these, I'm more than happy to tell you.
All right, so and some of you are freshmen, sophomore, juniors, seniors. So we have a great intern program every single year, every single summer, and it's usually great because I mean I'm in the office, I'm doing my work or so on, and then I realize that there's more events being planned somehow. Like we're getting more emails about this is happening, so on. We see more because we have a lot of in the company. We have a lot of like happy hours. A lot of like impromptu, like, oh, we're gonna have ice cream day or this or that, or there's food or whatever it is.
We had a pancake breakfast yesterday.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
like we have stuff that goes on randomly, but it really goes, it increases by a lot whenever the interns come in. Like whenever the interns come in, you know that, okay, that now we're gonna have a lot of stuff going on. So we have a really good intern program where you know, any of you will be part of a team and you're not gonna be doing busy work, at least for the intern that was in my team, here's your work. Try to finish it in the summer, right? You're gonna learn a lot. We're gonna help you a lot, and hopefully you'll be able to finish it because it's a real project. Where this is not like the easiest or whatever project. We're gonna give you something that matters that you can hopefully finish within your summer span time. So you're also able to go out to the field. These are other pictures from Kansas because that's our headquarters. But you'll be able to go out to the field and see, you know, in our case, a substation in real life or so on. We have events for like we had like an event. We went to the Astros game for free in the 100 section. So it
They
was
bought
cool.
out the entire
Yeah,
section.
they bought out the
like
whole
that.
section, and like it was cool because they give us random seats, I guess, and you can only take a +1. So if I wanted to see with my friends, and I was like, man, I want to see like my friends, my coworkers, but they're all over there. But we own this whole thing, so we all like sat next to each other, and then if we took someone's place, they will go somewhere else because we were all like together. It's a Burns and Max section, which was pretty cool.
They're on the first row too, the first section.
So we have bowling that we do, like an event for bowling. We have an event that we do junior achievement where we have to raise money for charity, and there's like stuff that happens around the office, a lot of happy hours. Just in general, we do stuff where we have like we had Christmas, and this is not like intern, but we had a Christmas dinner kind of thing at the Houston Museum. So like, we're there, we're like where the dinosaurs are and everything, and like we're just eating, and there's music, free drinks, so on.
Buffet, drinks, and
Yeah,
raffle prizes.
Hit the bar after, like it's just really cool. And we do a lot of that plus a lot more for the interns. We give them networking presentations, teach them the importance of networking. Because if you want, you just look into networking. It's the best way to move up. It's the best way to get a job. It's the best way to become someone in engineering field. So we do a lot of these other things. Plus, we give you a lot of gifts on and the knowledge that you get in a Burns and Mac. And if you do a really good job, there's a really good chance you come back. So that's our intern program, and I think they told me last year was the busiest, or we hired the most interns out of every year.
570 interns.
Yeah, 570 interns, and I'm only guessing it's gonna be more this year. So we do hire from every discipline, but a lot of electricals, a lot of. So yeah. And I think the next slide is how to apply it, unless you have something else to add.
One thing that I did want to add, so we're talking about how Burns is ready to promote you or build you up. If you look at the president of our Houston office, they came out of engineering. If you look at the CEO of the entire company, they came out of engineering, both out of transmission distribution, by the way. But just to show you can start from anywhere in this company and go all the way up. It's how much are you willing to take on? How much are you willing to do? So the path is there. We'll put you to work. We'll build you up. You just got to decide where you want to go.
My department manager, or our department manager, Kerry, he's huge UH alumni, and he was the first intern at the Houston office. Like first intern, he was the first one. He went all the way now to department manager.
Or he's director now.
And yeah, and then he'll just keep moving up. But yeah, and he came from UH. So you are able to grow a lot in Burns McDonnell.
And as fast as you want. So it's not you're waiting around saying, oh, I need this person to retire, I need this. It's if you're able to take projects on, if you're able to build up Burns McDonnell, then we're ready to build you up.
And then here's how to apply. Like a lot of you, hopefully a lot of you went to the career fair. That's a great way to get into the, I guess, Burns and Mac network, and you get a video interview and so on. You get we get your resume. But if you go to Burns and Mac careers, you can also apply there. I know specifically for substation, we just put up our link like last week. So it's fresh out there. Just go in there and you'll see like Houston substation intern program. There you go. You have Chicago, you have all over the US, right? Kansas City, that's gonna be the biggest, our headquarters. So you can apply anywhere you want. And if you really want to go to Chicago, you have family in Chicago, you're here just because you came for UH. If you just speak that out, and then they can fit you in there. So yeah, this is the best way to apply. Just go to the Burns and McDonnell career section.
And not just for interns, but if you're also a senior and you're looking for a full-time gig, if you go to the same place, careers, look up assistant electrical engineer positions or computer engineer positions. That's going to be our entry-level position. So really recommend y'all apply for that.
Yeah, and apply to several ones because you might have, I know the oil and gas one is up there as well. So you apply to the oil and gas one, and then you apply to the substation one. If you get in all the way, you'll have your interviews will be with a manager from oil and gas, and then you have another interview with the manager for substation, and then they'll decide who picks you where you want to fit. So if you apply to several ones, you might have several interviews, meaning you have several options to get into Burns and McDonnell.
And again, it's based on best fit.
Yeah.
So we're not just saying, oh, well, I can't take them. It's whatever is the best fit.
And that's it.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
She's gonna add something.
Sorry. Yeah. So another thing that to keep in mind, you're not just gonna do work at Burns and McDonnell. You can also be involved in organizations like Rafa is very involved with New Blue, which is the young professional org at Burns and McDonnell. So there are other things, other ways where you can be involved within the company. It's not just work. And we have all of these extracurricular events that the company offers. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So yeah.
So if you want extracurriculars, we got it. You want additional training, we got it. You want a path to the top, we'll get you there. One cool thing about what Rafa does with New Blue is, so what New Blue is it gets all the new Burns Mac hires together, gets them in a group. What he's used that to do is kind of help introduce them to other industries within the company. So I've seen him have, VPs come and talk for those events. So it's like, he's a guy that just started, 6 months. And he's already talking to people that are at the top of the ranks. So it gets you very comfortable talking to those people, talking to different groups, different industries. And I think that's kind of cool just for going for it. So I think one of the bigger things to take away from Burns and Mac is if you do decide to look into us and you want to come work with us, if you want to go for anything, pursue it, we'll let you do it.
Build your story.
Is that it? Oh.
Any questions? Any other questions?
Sorry, scan before y'all leave, scan this, register your attendance, kind of helps us keep in touch with y'all if that's okay.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I think
That
it takes
takes
you
you-
to the application, I think. So you register and apply.
Yeah.
I think you can put that you came to the.
Actually, yeah, it does go to
Wait,
careers.
questions?
So-
People online to hear you.
My question was, given that you guys are 100% employee-owned company, could you give us a time where you felt like that fact helped you in dealing with the client?
The fact that you're employee owned, how does that affect your relationships with your clients?
Affect the relationship with the client.
Is that your question? It benefits your.
The way
your
that I see
interaction.
it benefiting is everyone wants the company to be successful. Again, because we own the company technically. So that at least the way that I see it, and I haven't worked in another company, I guess I went straight to Burns and Mac. I was an intern somewhere else. So maybe I could see the difference a little bit, but everyone wants to help each other. Cause my coworkers, we might have different projects. And he'll put time away from his project to help me out. And same with me, because we all want to be successful. We all want to do well, right? Like I said, I don't want to step on anyone's toes. I don't want to be like, I want to do better than him or her for some reason. That's what I've seen from being 100% owned, not just the money benefits, but everyone is helping each other because we want the company to just do better.
So I don't know if y'all heard him. What his question was, how does being an employee owner benefit the client? And so one way that, as Rafa just mentioned, but one way I think about it is that the client knows you care because you have stake in it. You're not just saying, oh, well, if something goes wrong, that's on the company. You are the company. You have ownership into it. So I feel like when a client knows that and sees that, they know that you're really into these projects.
We're not working for stakeholders. We're working for ourselves pretty much. Yeah, I mean, they have their own, the whole company pretty much. Like they have a specific team, but I guess to the client's eyes, they have the whole company at their disposal. Like if they ask for something, we'll figure out where to get that knowledge from the company. Yeah. Cool.
Anyone else?
Yes.
So it won't hold you back at Burns, but it is definitely recommended because say you have your FE, which would lead to your PE, that helps, that kind of is like a verification that you know what you're doing. So that helps the clients to see, hey, this person's a PE, they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, like I personally don't have an FE or a PE. I was gonna take it and then COVID happened and I kind of backed out. But eventually I know that I'll need it if I want to keep growing within my team. And that can be clients based, like some clients require, we have levels, I guess, to how much we build the client and so on. Though some clients will require like, okay, if this is this level, they need to have a PE or so on. But I don't know, I might never need a PE if I decide, like I said, career progression. So I don't want to become super technical or project manager. I want to be a manager of people, right? So I want to be a team manager, a department manager. At that point, I might not need a PE. I might just keep growing into that business side of things, proposals and so on. So it just depends of what you're doing in Burns and Mac. So. Study. It's easier. Yeah.
I would say, I know within my department, it's very important to climb up in your. So if you want to go from assistant electrical engineer to staff, you need your FE. If you want to go from staff to senior, you need your PE. So it really depends on the career path, like Rafael was saying, but I would still recommend.
Yes.
Get this question, what is the process for your
So the way that they told us to reply to our question, because we are not HR technically, they said everyone should apply. That's what they told us. Everyone should apply, and every case will be looked at individually, and then they will make that decision, right? So that's kind of off our hands. That's how. Yeah, and we have a lot of like they might not be like they might have I don't know citizenship or so on, but we have a lot. Like I said, culturally, we have a lot of people in our company, international. So we do hire a lot of people from every. I just got someone in, a friend from UAE, straight from UAE to Burns and McDonnell. Like we got a lot of people from everywhere. Any questions?
You said grad school?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we do offer tuition assistance. So if you do want to pursue that, because that's building yourself up. If you're building yourself up, that helps build Burns up. So we do offer tuition assistance. I'm not super knowledgeable on how much, but know it's pretty sizable.
Yeah. And if you already have your master's, well, like example, Rim has her master's, and you can go into NIA substation just with a master's. I think you do get like an increase in pay and everything, but you're gonna do what we're doing. But there's another department, 1898, that it's like the brains of Burns and McDonnell. It's like a separate kind of section of Burns and McDonnell. They do a lot of like studies and running some like programs and modeling some stuff that the client needs. So they'll almost like find out what the client needs before they need it, or so on. So a lot of people with masters go there as well.
Masters and PhDs.
Masters and PhDs.
So they're utility consulting specific. So they're it's like transmission planning for the future of the grid and things like that.
Mhm.
And how to attack that.
I mean, I guess technically we don't have an input. Like we wouldn't. I guess we can voice to our manager that hey, can we get an intern for the summer because we need some more work. But that's just the department manager and the system department manager that will decide who gets picked and so on. I mean, for tips, I would say other than being technically knowledgeable and like again, all the stuff you're gonna learn is at the company. Be good at speaking, networking, voicing yourself. Again, we need to talk to clients and so on. So you're gonna be able to explain what you're doing. Always be open to like learning, being open to understanding that you might be wrong and you will be wrong with some stuff. So that's one aspect that I mean, I was a TA here for 1331. This class sucks. I know, sorry, but I was a TA for like, I don't know, 3 years, with Burleson, Axel, all of them. And that helped me a lot because I had to talk to a lot of students and deal with a lot of different types of students, which gave me different, different stories to tell, different ways of explaining what, harsh times or how I explain this or that. So just being able to explain yourself and voice yourself and being able to learn, that's all you need to get into. Like now, if you're getting to Burns and Mac, they know that you'll be able to be molded into what we need, right? You'll be able to learn everything you need, and you'll be able to be someone that the client trusts and the client will enjoy talking to, and so on.
And so you want to tailor your resume whenever you submit it in, to show collaborative work experience.
Mhm.
And so whenever you do get into an interview, what I would recommend is being able to tell a story about like a problem that you had and how you went about solving it. Because the people that can talk in detail about the problems and how they solved it, well, that's when you know they actually know what they're talking about, rather than just saying, oh, well, I've worked on one of these battle bots for IEEE before, and that was it. Well, what problems did you have? Because it's not like it just went smooth. There's something that had to come up within that build. How did that actually go? And if you can go into detail about that, that'll go a long way in an interview. And that's not just with us, but with any company.
Yeah, and try not to. So people might try to like lie their way through or say that you know more than you do. And that's the one thing that if you say, do you have experience with this? So, and you're like, yeah, I have some experience. They'll ask you, what experience do you have? Be able to follow that up, right? So if you're truthful to yourself and say, actually, I don't have experience in that, or this is what I know, you can tell me if I'm wrong. So on, like that's different way of, he'll like whoever is interviewing you will say, okay, he doesn't know, but he's willing to learn. Instead of you saying, yeah, I do, and he's okay, tell me about it, and then you start studying and saying the wrong thing, they'll know. Like they're the experts. They'll know, okay, he's lying about this. So just be yourself. Just be yourself and understand that you're not gonna know everything, and they don't expect you to know everything, right? So.
You being here. Technically,
You
just look
because you're
around you.
impressive.
no, I'm not. I'm just saying is that get to know the people who sit around you, talk to them. Because the way I got my job at Burn, an old friend of mine from my AAA, we were being hooked up, hanging out, and he's like,
So
"Oh,
cool.
Get a call, the interview, lots of things. So like, honestly, like all you have to do is network.
That's networking. Yep.
That's what it is. Get to know the people around you. Yeah, like, let's smart handshake. Introduce yourself.
And definitely don't miss your career first. Definitely don't miss like anytime there's like a networking event or anything here. Take advantage of that before you go and see these companies. Look at the list of companies that are showing up, see which ones interest you, and come up with a couple questions. So if you come up to me like with a question, like a genuine question, not just a, hey, how are you doing? Or, hey, tell me about Burns. Say, hey, I looked up Burns, saw substations. They seem really cool. How cool are they? I'll tell you about it. But the what? There we
Pretty
go.
much, yeah.
And,
Substation is the way.
Just come on. But so if you have real questions that you looked into, I know that. And so that's always a good step in showing that, hey, I'm comfortable talking to these people. I'm willing to learn, because you want to show an interest to learn. You want to show that you can deal with problems, even if they were tough. And what were some other things?
And I mean, I got this job from the career fair here at UH. And I think we do have 2 career fairs, right? So I remember hating on the first one. I was like, this is useless. And then I went to the second one because I was like, I need a job. And I talked to a guy at Burns and Mac, and he went all the way through. So I was like, okay, it actually works, right? It worked on my last semester. So it actually works. As much as you're gonna hate it, you have an example here that it worked. And I mean, I was at the career fair. You might have seen me if you passed by the Burns and Mac booth. And I mean, it worked. Like all those people that went and talked and gave us a resume, they're most likely, almost all of them, getting a video interview at least. And then they'll be put in wherever they fit if they get through. So it's a great opportunity, not just for Burns and Mac, but every company that goes to the career fair. I got my internship at the SUI conference. So going to those conferences will help a lot. Just expose yourself as much as you can, and you'll get an opportunity.
And every
You're
time.
doing more than a lot of people.
And every time you go to one of those events, you go to these conferences, you go to these career fairs, you're always learning something new. You always, even if you've seen this company 3 times, I'm sure that every time you go and talk to these companies, you learn something a little bit more, something that kind of tailors your interests a little better. So now that when you go to apply for something, you're going to apply for something that you're genuinely interested in, substations, than just saying, oh, I'll just take whatever job comes up, which will happen. That can happen too. But if you spend a lot of time going to these career fairs and learning these things, it helps you to find what you're interested in. And when you work on what you're interested in, that's when you really start to enjoy your work. And again, it's also good to go to these career fairs because there's multiple people in here that I've recognized from a lot of the previous years. So we start to see you more often. We get to keep in touch with you. There's been lots of times where I've seen students from previous career fairs. I remember going through sophomore, junior, senior. Maybe I wasn't able to get them an internship, but on that senior year, after keeping up with them, I was able to get them an offer. So keeping in touch is always kind of a good way to go about things. So go to your career fairs, go to your networking sessions, all that. Learn as much as you can.
Yeah, make friends. Cool.
Anything else?
We're right on time, or 30 minutes over.
Hey, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
You need that, sorry.
Yeah, I need one. Thank you. We're good?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice meeting you as well.
No, no. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for coming out. I was wondering what kind of like courses you recommend taking either locally.
All right, ready to go? You want to go? You want to go ahead and trust people? Because it's Yeah, speed run a little bit. If y'all want to take your seats real quick, that'd be great. All right. Cool. Speaking of cursed images. All right. Yeah, sorry. Do y'all mind like speaking towards the back a little bit? Thank you guys. Yeah. All right. All right. All right. Thank you all for coming. Yeah. All right. So it's around 7:30. So we're going to try to split through these in 30 minutes. So, all right, let's do it. So we have on a much more serious note, we had a IEEE member who was very close and close to us, who passed away very recently, around a week ago. So we're gonna have a moment of silence for Blatthew, ma'am, our fish. Only about a week and a half. And yeah, you will be missed. All right. So lounge resources, our lounge manager will go and take care of those.
Hi, my name is Justin Wynn. Hi, my name is Justin Wynn. I am the lounge manager, and I'm here to tell you why you guys should drop by the lounge. We have a lot of stuff, such as 3D printer. We have textbooks, tools, supplies, everything you guys would need to like help you guys pass your electronics class. Also, a couch for you to lounge in, as well as we finally got food back. All right. Next slide. Yeah. All right. We are located in room N367 in the engineering 1 building. We're open mostly on Mondays through Thursday from 10 to 6. In there, you can talk with your friends, talk with the fellow officers, and just get get help from fellow classmates or upperclassmen, as well as just sleep in there.
Now, because I slept in there yesterday. So we're gonna go talk about our IEEE Engage workshops. We had quite a few ready. So now we're gonna talk about the ones that are upcoming.
So, this was the first workshop that we held, the Tiny ML workshop. It went off with pretty well. We have, the links for the video and the previous resources if you want to go over the workshop material, post workshop. Next slide, we've got the Tiva C functionality workshop, also a past workshop that we've done. You can go over the resources just like the previous workshop. We have them if you would like to learn the material after the workshop has already happened. We also had a circuits 1 and 2 study workshop. That one was really, really fun. We got to teach, some students how to do circuits 1 and 2, the day before the exam. Always a fun time. Yeah. Freddie. Yeah, here's Freddie.
Hello, thank you for coming out. Yeah, so I finally got the website done. The domain isn't fully figured out, so it does still have the .squarespace on it, but we're working on that too. And yeah, so it has a really nice functionality that you can see all the events coming up and all of it on a calendar as well. So if you want to see which of workshops you can go to, it's a very nice way to visualize it. And then also you can apply to become a member, and then also for positions next year if you want to become an executive or a committee member, depending how much responsibility you would like to take on. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's up now, and we'll try to figure out the domain stuff by the end of the week if possible.
Here we have the semester showcase. Scan this if you guys want. It has all of the workshops for the rest of the semester posted on there. You can sign up, I believe. I'll just give this slide a few seconds so that you guys can scan it, Scan away, scan away. Oh. Okay. IEEE mentorship program. This is the last week to sign up for the mentorship program. I believe Matt is going to be sending out some details later this week. So please sign up if you would like to be mentored, if you would like to be a mentee, you'll get lots of good resources and help. So sign up. This is the last week to sign up. We have an electronic study night this Friday. As you can see, IEEE expert. I'm not in electronics, but I'll help you if you want it. So this is gonna be Friday, 2 to 4 p.m. It's gonna be a great time. Teaching people electronics before the day before the exam. So. Would you like to talk about your workshop? Here's Carter.
All right. Hi, my name is Carter. I'm teaching a workshop this Thursday. In this workshop, we're going to build an MP3 player out of an STM32, and we'll learn how to design any electronic device from a schematic to all the way soldering it on a perf board.
Hi, my name's Laura. My workshop's going to start this Tuesday. It's on Arduino, so it's going to go from the basics. So if you don't know anything about Arduino or you know very little, I'm going to start from teaching from how to choose the right board till we're going to build 4 projects. And then the final project, we're going to build a clock, which we're going to work up to by doing multiple different projects and learning to program.
We're gonna have the earlier slide there was that's not me but there's 4 more sessions of the Tiva C workshop. So if you would like to learn how to use a Tiva C microcontroller, go ahead. We have the past material as I mentioned in the previous slide, so you can catch up and then go to the next 4. So show up, yeah. Next.
Systems and need extra help, that's probably.
Hello, back here again. Yeah, so my machine learning workshop starts next Wednesday, and just some quick things about it. No installation required, so you don't have to download a bunch of garbage onto your computer. It'll all be done on a Google server using Google Colab, which is a very efficient tool. We'll briefly cover that in a minute. All you really need for it is just, if you like to take notes, you can just bring paper and pencil or to take notes. I'm gonna try to go a little into the math, but not too much, make it consumable for those who haven't taken calculus. All you need is like basic derivatives. And yeah, it's gonna be a build up. Eventually you'll build an H predictor app, which uses a convolutional neural network, which is just computer vision. And yeah, come out, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be hybrid as well for those that can't make it. And it'll be in the engineering building 2, E220. So yes, hope to see y'all there.
We have also a collaboration workshop coming up with SME, where you'll get to learn about Autodesk Fusion 360, as it says here on the slide. It's a 3-week course. It starts on Thursday. That's October 13th, 20, right? 10 is October, yeah. Sorry about that. It's October right now, I think, right? There's a QR code, cutoff QR code right there. Good luck scanning. Uh, yeah, but it's on the semester showcase, so yeah, you can look at the slides when we send them out. Next, I'm gonna let maybe, you know, Alejandro, you can come up and talk about your BattleBots workshop. Yeah.
Hello. My name is Alejandro. Jonathan's walking around. We're gonna do a BattleBot competition. We're still working out all the details to make like just a platform for the robots, and then we can have teams, and we'll have different methods of fighting, whether that's kind of spinning something around. But we're definitely setting that up. So he is focusing on the platform. Not sure what else to talk about.
I'm not sure what else we want to talk about either.
Fair warning, no explosives.
We're not using explosives. But maybe a dart or a gun. Oh, here you go.
So unfortunately, our robotics director couldn't be here today. So he already started his workshop, I believe, a week or two ago. So he's working towards creating a submission for the Lunar Surface Transporter Vehicle Challenge. I don't know if y'all got the email about Eastside. We're trying to put a team together so that we can put a submission for that. So the upcoming workshop is RS2. There is called Nodes with RS2. So they're planning to get familiar. Okay, cool. With RS2's package system for sending data to and from each other. So it's going to be in the lounge like last time from 2 to 4 p.m. So that's engineering building 1 and 367. All right, Alejandro again for 3D printing.
So we have two Ender 3 Pros in the lounge, as they mentioned before. Anyone can use them for any reason. They're senior design. There was a student, I think he's here, who needed help with something. He just quickly modeled it on the computer and printed it out, and he was able to use it. So you can do things pretty quickly. We're always there to help with need and 3D printing. If needed, which is not really that much, I do have 2 resin printers. If you guys just want to mess around with those, if you're interested. So you're kind of interested. I have 2 of them. Just send me the file and I can go ahead and print them out.
For that, you can also contact me, Jonathan, or Carter. We are all 3 able to help you out with that. So yeah, on Discord, yeah. Yeah, there's a 3D printing Discord chat. So hop on there if you want to do stuff with that.
All right, tech rep, Kevin.
Hello, name is Kevin. Currently the College Technology is having an event with the Harris County. It's basically like an information session. We're at the Student Center by the Skyline Room this Thursday from 4:30 to 5:30, and registration is required. For the next slide, there's another event going on in New York where undergrad students pursuing technology or engineering or computer science, where it's basically like a networking event. There's free travel and hotel accommodation. So if anyone's interested in going to New York, there is a registration required, but I believe there is a fee, like a registration fee. I was looking it up this morning, and I think it's like $250, which is not bad because they give you the free travel and the hotel accommodation. So I guess even out. So if anyone's interested, you can reach out to me. They have not set the deadline for that one, but I still have to look into it because they recently just posted it.
All right, we'll also reach out.
Right. Events coming up. We have a movie night. It's gonna be Friday on October 14th. It's gonna be an engineering building, second floor, E220. It's gonna be from 7 to 9.
I'm out to convince us to watch. Convince Matt to watch Wedham too.
We also have a poker night. Oh, good.
Hello, I'm going to be hosting the poker night. It's going to be on the 26th from 6 to 8. I hosted one last year. I might need some help hosting it this year. It was a bit too many people last time, dealer. So hope to see you there. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Pitbull's totally gonna be there. A Pitbull's gonna be there. Here you go.
And then upcoming events, getting into research, coding competition, X Career AI, Mario Kart, Smash Bros, Just Dance Night, Karaoke Night, Valorant Tournament, Wing Night, board games, volleyball bar, and anime. Coming soon. Oh, Alejandro. Yes, definitely.
We're not
We'll
that
work on
sweaty.
it.
We're not that sweaty.
Oh. Yeah. Arnie's old. What's the career workshop? Oh,
So this is a brief overview of some of the things going on in the Career Center. So first of all, this Thursday, we're having a career fair for all majors. So I think about 80 or so companies are going to come over. Not all of them are engineering orgs or engineering companies, but a lot of them are. So hopefully I'll provide a doc to help illustrate which ones are and give you guys an idea of what they do. Look out for that in Discord. And then obviously on the 12th, there's going to be career workshop with the University Career Services to learn how to make a LinkedIn and use it effectively. And there will be an info session with Boston Scientific that we'll talk about more later. Actually, yeah. Oh, let me introduce myself. I'm Anthony. I'm the SAC director. And one of the things I'm in charge of is this thing called the Student Advisory Week. So basically, before I begin this, how many of you guys are sophomores or and juniors? Raise your hands, please. Okay, so most of you either are going to declare a concentration or have already declared one, and that's my job. Oh, my job is my bad. My job is essentially to help inform you guys what the concentrations are and hopefully help steer you guys into one you find interesting. Like one of the guys said, who concentrated in electronics and hated it, if he showed up to this, that may not have been the case. So yeah, hopefully we'll have some professors and industry experts to talk about what classes are involved in that and what the jobs in these areas look like. And it'll be around the October 31st to November 3rd, because so I think priority registration starts November 2nd and regular starts the 4th. So it'll be in time for you guys to register for your classes this coming spring. All right. And once again, a recap of the Career Center. It's going to be in the Student Center South this Thursday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You register through that Google pathway. It's on your Access UH. Yeah. And then once again, I am always here to assist you guys with whatever you need in the professional development side of things. So building a resume, fixing a resume, that type of thing. You can post it in the resume channel on the Discord, or if you don't want to, you can shoot me a DM on Discord and I'll get back to you. Or you could go to the Engineering Career Center from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. or the First Gen Korean Ambassadors Monday through Friday at those hours. And yeah, so like I said before, one of the companies that's coming over the 20th of October, which is a Thursday, is Boston Scientific. So they're a biomedical / medical devicing manufacturing company type of thing. So they're not a strictly electrical EE company, but they do hire plenty of EEs. So if you're interested in this area of things, this is a great place to show up, learn, and maybe get something out of it. All right.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rumi. I am your educational outreach chair for this year. So we currently have 2 events. One I've posted in the Discord is our Houston Botanical Garden. That's in collaboration with SHEP. That'll be happening this Friday from 9 to 12 p.m. So please go ahead. The next slide will have the RSVP link. come show out. And then this next one is with Nesby. So they're having a STEM zone on Saturday. That one, it says it starts at 12:30, but they need the volunteers there from 11 to 2:30. So that will be working with students, school age students, kindergarten through 12th grade. They'll be learning a little bit more about STEM. We're also going to have a U of H alum come and talk to them about engineering and what it takes to be an engineer. So yes, I definitely hope to, well, actually, I won't be there because I have a test on both days during those times, but I definitely hope to see everyone come out with their pictures that they have to take if you go to these events. Next slide, please. So these are the RSVP links. This one's for Shep. This one's for Nesby. Nesby, they need about 5 to 7 volunteers. Shep, anyone can come. But please do reach out to any of those contacts, especially me, if you have any questions. And when you do go out to volunteering events, please wear your IEEE shirt and make sure to take a picture of yourself at that situation so I can make sure to give you guys your points, because there are volunteering points and there are prizes that you can win with those points. Yes, and also volunteering looks really good on your resume. I'm telling you, I got an internship and I was talking to the HR and they were saying, yeah, because you volunteered and we see that. So definitely volunteer, get involved as much as you can. And there will be more events in the future. So if you miss these two, don't worry, I got you. Yep, thank you. Okay, cool.
And right here we have our socials, our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and of course, if you haven't already, the Discord. And yeah. If you're interested in becoming an IEEE member, these are just the membership process. You should have scanned the QR code and our membership dues. For national members, it's half off. And yeah, local members, 20 a year. And here's the QR code if you haven't signed up already. And here's the Discord. And thank you. Oh, and if you haven't signed in yet, there's a QR code.
Hey, you did.
Was it 8 o'clock? Awesome.
Thanks for showing out. Is there an extra water burger for people?
Is there any more food?